So here we have a 4-stroke engine on a snowblower, and you can see from the background that it's a nice spring, almost summer day here in Indiana. So I'm not going to use this for a while. At least I certainly hope not. So there's a couple things we can do, and there's a couple ways we can do this. First thing we want to do is stabilize the fuel or completely remove the fuel. There's our two options. There are products we can purchase that is a fuel stabilizer, and the way we use a fuel stabilizer is that it should be pre-mixed in a can first, and then you could shake it up to thoroughly mix it in. The ratio on this is is 1 ounce for every 2.5 gallons. So I have a 2.5 gallon tank sitting here, and we've mixed up 1 ounce of fuel stabilizer in this. And one of our two ways is I can fill this up, and you want to fill the tank all the way because not everything has a poly tank or a plastic tank like we have here. So some older or even newer models still have metal tanks on them, and we worry about rusting. And so certain fuels, especially ethanol type fuels, will attract water, and you can get some corrosion or rusting inside that tank. So our options is, if you're going to fill it, you fill it almost all the way full with a fuel stabilizer, or if you're going to empty it, you need to empty it all the way. So there's a couple ways we can remove all the fuel from this if we choose to empty it. One, I could remove the fuel line from the bottom of the tank, or two, I could use a siphon like this, or a small bulb like this, like a turkey baster, and remove the fuel from the tank. Now what that does, that only really removes the fuel from the tank, and it doesn't get any of the fuel that's in the fuel lines or the carburetor or anything like that. So you still need to run it if you decide to empty it out that way to get all the fuel out of the carburetor and the lines. One thing about using fuel stabilizer is if you just put it in the tank and store it, well, that only treats the fuel in the tank, and it did not do anything for the fuel lines or the carburetor, which is really the part that we typically see a lot of problems with after a engine comes out of storage. So the manufacturer of the stabilizer recommends that once you have your mixed fuel, you put it in the tank, and then you start the engine, you let it run for 5, 10, 20 minutes, let it get warm, actually work its way into the fuel system, and then shut it down, and it's good to be stored for anywhere from 12 to 24 months. So that is one of the easier ways to do this. End of the season, I also like to fully inspect every other component on this. So I'll check the air cleaner, I will check the spark plug, check the gap on that, and also just do an overall maintenance overview of the machine in total to see if there's anything that I need to repair in the off season to be ready. Should a snowstorm happen this fall or going into winter, I will be ready next time it happens. This model has an electric start on it, so it does not have a battery. This one actually gets plugged into a wall outlet. But a lot of the 4-stroke equipment that we use have batteries on them, and so batteries are a big maintenance thing when we put something in the storage. There can be parasitic loads, meaning that the battery just slowly discharges because there's things on the device or a leak someplace. So what I do is I use a battery minder or a battery tender, and I attach it to the battery in the off season for something that's going to sit for several months. And it can either go alligator clips to the battery terminals. If it's a car or tractor, it can go in through the accessory or cigarette lighter, or you can attach it directly to the battery terminals using a D-ring. But either way, any one of those ways keeps a constant charge in the battery so it doesn't discharge over the duration that it's in storage. While we're doing battery maintenance, we have to check it for corrosion. So we have two things here. We have a battery cleaner, which reacts with any type of acid or anything that's on the battery, we want to make sure the top of the battery is clean, because anytime you have dirt, debris, anything like that across the top of a battery, it can cause it to short out and discharge across the terminals across the dirt. The other thing that I typically use would be a terminal protection spray that just reduces some of the corrosion that can occur there, especially while it's in storage. So there's a few of the things that we like to check over on a 4-stroke engine before we put it in the storage, so when the day comes that I need to use this again, it's ready to start, and it won't take too long to get out and start blowing some snow here. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned. Check out our Facebook, our YouTube channel, and INDianaPrepared.org for additional content and resources.